anyway, so one time I went to Steeplechase, which was an amusement park in Coney Island. And it was named Steeplechase because around the perimeters of all the other rides was this track that went up and down, several tracks, and each one had a horse on it. And so it wasn't like the merry-go-round, which is fixed, because, the horses are impaled to the carousel, so they always know what order they're going to come out in. But these, by pelvic thrusts, you could make your mechanical horse go faster. And then there was an indoor arena, which had a stage at one end of it, and it was like a little theater. They had lines of seats there where people would sit and eat their lunch, and they had other rides inside there. The stage area is that people come out this door, regular people, and they come into like a miniature funhouse on that stage. And then there's a platform you walk over, and there's a hole about 1 inch in diameter, out of which comes this air spout. And so when a woman walked over it, it would blow up her dress. And if she didn't have a bathing suit or panties on, there would be this flash of pubic hair, and the audience would applaud. And this was before women's lib. And so I was offended by it. Even though I was obsessed with the pubic hair, I didn't think this was an appropriate way to see it. And worse, if a woman was smart enough to know what was going on, and she went there holding her skirt down, there was a clown. It was a dwarf wearing a clown's costume with hostile makeup. He looked real angry, and he had an electric cattle prod. And so if a woman was walking by and she held her skirt down with her hands, he would buzz her in the buttock with the cattle prod. She would let go and scream the air, and her dress would blow up again. And I was really offended by this. So when I came out, I realized, well, this is like a captive performer. There's an audience there waiting to see us go through this fun house. But I noticed that the dwarf in the clown costume was leaning by the front rail, talking to somebody in the front row, and his electric cattle prod was right next to him. And again, this is a moment to decide something very quickly. So in that moment, the time freezes, and the left and right lobes of your brain fuse, and choice and impulse become the same process. And so you have your retrospect in advance. You know that you would feel better if you had buzzed the guy, and you still have the opportunity to do it. And that's just in a split second. So I buzzed the dwarf in the clown costume. He jumps up in the air, and the audience starts applauding because he got what he had done to so many others. And I hadn't counted on this. He started cursing at me and chasing me and yelling and throwing his fist and chasing me all around, around the cotton candy stand. And it's a very dreamlike experience. Being chased around an amusement park by a dwarf wearing a clown's costume who's mad because you buzzed him in the ass with his own electric cattle prod. And so I didn't, and see, this was before Fellini. So I didn't have a metaphor. I'm just running there saying, boy, this is like a